all the living presidents were in attendance for President Jimmy Carter's funeral today at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. President-elect Trump, President Biden, Barack Obama, George Bush, and Bill Clinton sat in the first two rows, each with their wives, that's including Hillary Clinton, although Michelle Obama was not there. She was noticeably absent. Now, for the first time since exiting the White House, Trump and former Vice President Mike Pence were in the same room. The men shook hands before taking their seats. It might be the first time that they have been meeting in 4 years. Now, in an unexpected to some people moment, Obama and Trump were actually chit-chatting at length, you can see there, before the funeral proceedings got underway. A lot of conversation between them that was noticed by many people. President Biden, accompanied by wife Jill Biden, was the last of the presidents to enter. That is, I think, Niall, very much intentional. They stagger them for the incumbent current president and the vice president sit in the front row there, and then the living presidents, former presidents behind them, and then the vice presidents behind them. So Al Gore was in the row behind with Mike Pence, and that was some of that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a solemn moment. I think, President Carter's political legacy we could go into. I think a lot of people feel that it was his post-presidential life that really got the most universal acclaim, at least, and in his presidency was more divisive. But, it is, I think, moving to most people, the kind of pomp and circumstance that goes with a funeral for any president of the United States. And I have no problem at all with, Trump and Obama making conversation in what appears to be a pretty civil and friendly way. Good for them.
No, I think it's great. And it's hard not to be fascinated, though. These are all the, the main characters of political life, the starring roles in the political extended universe, usually off in their own films, but in the same place in rare circumstances. So it is always just kind of interesting to watch them interact and, do so in very civil terms, despite all of the very disparaging things they all say about each other, Donald Trump in particular, but the others they're saying very disparaging, maybe in less colorful terms, but about him. But then they are, able to preside over this important moment for the good of the country and to show goodwill toward each other. There was a lot of talking, as we said, between Obama and Trump. I'm sure George W. Bush was disappointed that Michelle Obama was not there, because
his best day on these occasions.
Yes, have a particular friendship. But yeah.
Yeah, and as of us recording this, we haven't seen any, or at least I haven't seen any public explanation for why Michelle Obama was not there. Perhaps it was just some simple scheduling conflict, or perhaps she didn't particularly wish to be in close proximity to Mr. Trump, of whom she has been particularly critical. I think it is.
It could be, she could be ill, who knows?
Exactly, there's all sorts of reasons for
Well, yeah, and I saw people saying at first that, it's like X and Y didn't shake each other's hands, but you have to be, somebody said that about Obama and Trump, but because then they shook Mike Pence's hand and Al Gore's hand, but that was just what you saw on camera. For all I know, they were in a separate waiting area before because now they're talking as if they had clearly, so people should not get over their skis about, they didn't, interact they might have interacted just before they entered the camera's purview.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I get that there is always a temptation in these moments, because they are so rare, to parse the body language in very close, overly much. One of the things that I saw getting some attention on social media was a particular moment where Vice President Harris, who was seated in the row in front of Obama and Trump, looked back at them, and they were, yucking it up, and she looked back in apparent dismay. But who knows?
I mean, Trump's facial expressions are just so interesting to watch. Yeah. I'll never forget the body language on. I can't remember if it was I think it was Trump's first inauguration, where Bill Clinton is very fondly watching Melania enter the area, and Hillary Clinton is following Bill Clinton's gaze and then kind of laughs to herself. It's very hard not to read what was going on there.
Human moments among our past presidents or past secretaries of state.
Yeah, look it up if you don't believe me. It's quite amusing.
So, I mean, we'll say it is interesting, I think, how, even though Jimmy Carter was president so long ago, how there is still not only reverence for the office, but I actually went over to with a colleague to the Capitol Rotunda last night, and you know, there was a significant line still to get in to see President Carter's casket at 7:30 on a very snowbound Washington evening. So I think that is partly about retrospective admiration for him, of course, but also reverence for the office itself.
Yeah. So Kamala and Biden, as we said, in the front row. I watched Biden's entrance. Again, he didn't particularly engage with anyone as he got to his seat. He might have engaged with them before he was brought to his seat, but he went right with Jill and sat down and is next to Kamala and Kamala's husband, Doug.
Yes, someone told me, and I need to double check this, but I believe there will be a slightly unusual circumstance at this funeral where posthumous eulogies from former President Ford and from Walter Mondale will be read out, that Carter had asked them during their lifetimes to do that. So if I've got that completely wrong, people can slam me in the comments, but I certainly read that somewhere.
Very, very interesting. Well, we will continue to monitor this and the best wishes for the Carter family, of course, as they mourn a very pivotal and important person in American history, an ex-president. More Rising right after this.